Is college a scam? So is college worth it in 2026? We're told go to college, get your degree, and you'll be successful. But I feel like Gen Z is asking different questions, and it's not always just a one path, and not everything fits everybody. So, so today we're going to be talking about the school system and the different paths people may take.
Yes, welcome to the From Zero podcast. This is for the ones who want clarity and not just tradition. Today, we're breaking down the reality of the school system, whether college is actually worth it in 2026, and what alternative paths like real estate can look like for Gen Z.
So let's get into it. Arizona consistently ranks in the top bottom 5 in education. This was by U.S. News. That's
crazy because we're both from Arizona. I've lived here my whole life, and we currently rank on the bottom 5 out of all 50 states. That's something.
Yeah, and I was recently talking to my mom about it, and I have a lot of family members and friends that have came from Mexico and are doing their education here now in the United States, and they say that they're pretty advanced in everything. If they're in middle school, they're already doing high school math. So I don't know, that kind of says a lot, and it's not the first that I've heard of this, where you see that a lot of out of state people, other people from other countries come to the United States, and they get that same thing where it's like, I feel like I'm more advanced in the schooling that I'm in right now in the United States.
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, our system is struggling. Not every school prepares students equally. There's overcrowded classrooms, there's underfunding, there's inconsistent outcomes. I think that's one of the reasons why my dad decided to pull me out of school during high school. I was in public school for all of middle school, and then during high school, he's like, the school system sucks. It's not good. You're not getting the education you need. The people that you're surrounding yourself with is not the people that I want you to hang around with. So you know what? Let's pull you out of school. But I mean, I was telling her this, but my first year of doing online school was probably one of the worst things ever. I would go as far as to say I flunked most of my classes, and somehow I managed to flunk PE, But after I got the hang of it, little by little, I started enjoying it more. My grades went up again. I went from C's and D's to A's and B's. So instead of having to spend 8 hours in a classroom where I learned the very basics, I was able to learn those exact same things in 3 to 4 hours. And the rest of the time during the day, I was learning something different. I was going to the classes that my dad used to teach, because he's in real estate, and he's an instructor, and so he's always out there teaching agents. And so I was there. I was helping him show houses, being his assistant, learning contracts right before the age of 18. So I think that's one of the benefits of homeschooling or not even just homeschooling, but just doing online, is that you have more freedom than spending 8 hours in a classroom where you're only going to learn the basics. And I was talking to her too, like, the kids nowadays don't even know the basics, and they're spending 8 hours. So it's like, what are they doing? What are they learning? And I don't blame the teachers either, because again, the classrooms are overcrowded. They have to manage 30 students for 8 hours, and it's impossible, because there's kids out there that they can't sit still. They're talking. There's one that needs more attention than the other, and they're just not getting the support that they need.
Right. Yeah. And for my personal point of view as being a mom, I'm not sure if I want to do homeschool or if I want to do public schooling, because I don't know, as a toddler, you see how active they are and how creative they are and how they want to be adventurous. So I think putting him into that school system, I'm just a little scared of him not being able to reach his full potential, or not having that liberty of that natural creativity that they have. And I want him to learn how to figure things out on his own. And I feel like sometimes the school system does that to you. They limit you, and they're just like, okay, here's the answer. You didn't figure it out. This is the answer. And that's it. Like, it's not a lot of pushing you to do the full potential that you can do.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, not everyone learns the same way. Some people
Hmm.
need more help in, let's say, math or English, or sometimes they don't even learn sitting down for 8 hours, looking at a teacher, telling them what to do. Kids learn differently. They're young, they're active, and they're just confining them to sitting in a chair and only 30 minutes of recess and being outside and talking. It's hard,
Mhm.
and it was
Yeah.
hard for me.
My son is very an outdoorsy person. He's wants to be outside all the time. It sucks and during here in Arizona where the heat is at 105, but we find ways around it. And yeah, he's not a 30 minutes only outside type of toddler. He's like, I want to be outside all day.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I experienced that as well. I went to public school, my whole full schooling, and I felt that I don't know, I couldn't really fit into the classroom. I wasn't being very understanding of what the teacher wanted us to do sometimes in the lessons. So I don't know. I think for the most of it, I felt like I was falling behind and I wasn't really learning what I should. And even then, it's like you got to pick it up quick because we're moving on to the next topic. If you didn't get it, then study it at home.
Yeah, too bad.
And
Yeah.
and you didn't have now you have AI. I feel like there's more access to
Hmm.
understanding what they're teaching, but
Back then, we had to do it old school. We actually had to learn.
no, I know, but now it's a different story.
Yeah, another thing that we were talking about is how schools don't teach you the real world stuff, the finances, the careers, entrepreneurship. They don't teach you about the credit cards, how to use one, investing, taxes, entrepreneurship. They don't teach any of that. It's literally just English, science, math, and that's it. And it's like, well, what am I going to use? I mean, you're going to use that. It helps develop your brain and whatnot, but how are you going to use that in the real world?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think these are things that either should be implemented in the school system
Mm-hmm.
or figuring out ways to do it out of school. If you're not going to learn it at school, then I think it should be the parents that take on that role of like, okay, well, we're going to do this. And I think that's why homeschooling or online is so beneficial, because they only have to spend however many hours they need to get the class done. So in my case, it would take me a little longer, 4 or 5 hours. But in my brother's case, he gets it really quick. So he's there 3-4 hours and that's it, and then he
Mm-hmm.
has the rest of the day to learn about other things, more practical things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think also, if you're gonna do the online school or homeschooling, you also have to plan out your day. If you're not gonna be 8 hours in school, then what are those other hours that you can use to learn more about you or what you want to do and how you want to, pursue your life for the future? And
Yep.
so, do you think school prepares you for real life, or is it just, how to follow instructions and
Did it prepare me for life? No. I
Mhm.
mean, besides, I guess, the basics, the reading
Yeah,
and the math, how to add, all those
your
basics.
colors.
Like, yeah, my colors, algebra. I don't think I've used algebra since high school, So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the basics, I guess it helped me. But other than that, I don't think it really served a purpose,
Hmm.
if you ask me. What
Yeah.
about you?
I think I would agree with that. I think schools should somehow implement how to do your credit, investing, taxes, financial side.
How to cook?
Yeah,
Those are basic survival skills.
yeah.
That people need to learn.
Honestly,
But they
they're
don't.
not taught. They're not
Mhm.
shown. I don't know. I mean, if if you feel this different way, then we'd love to hear that.
Yep. So now that we've talked a little bit about middle school, high school, let's transition to college. I started college in 2021. It was like, right. Yeah, 2021, and I graduated in 3 years, got my degree in government. And we kind of want to touch base on the both why college can be worth it for some people and why people are questioning it, you know? So one of the reasons why college would be worth it is if you're going to get a structured career path. For example, you need a degree if you're going to be a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor. Those all require degrees. You know, and statistically, those who get to have degrees are likely to make more income. You know, I think, again, it depends on the type of degree that you get. For example, I got mine in government, and I somehow went from government to taking the entrepreneurship step and going into real estate rather than actually pursuing more. The goal was to go and be a lawyer. I ended up changing paths. And so now this degree, if I decide to go into get a government job, I guess it would be beneficial for me to have that degree. But other than that, I don't see why I necessarily got the degree, especially in that topic, you know?
Yeah. I think you have more opportunities if you do have get your degree in college. So there's more networking, you have more advantages, you can say, and there's more credibility in certain industries. So
yeah, because I mean, there's some jobs that do require college degrees. You know, they want to know if you can sit there and study, and you know, it's kind of just like showing that you can do what is asked of you.
yeah.
You know, so
yeah. So is college worth it? I mean, if you're intentional with it,
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Absolutely. But now there's another section where people are questioning it. Gen Z is questioning whether or not they should go to college, you know? And one of the reasons why we think you shouldn't go to college is because of the debt that you get after going to college, you know? The average is about $37,000 in debt in the United States, and it's like that's a lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And so many students end up starting adulthood financially behind because they're $37,000 in debt, and for a degree that they probably won't even use after college, you know? About 27% of college graduates work in a job directly related to their major.
That's a little
So,
bit.
you know, that's not much. So
No.
the other percentage is working in jobs that have nothing to do with their degree. Like in my case, I didn't even end up using my degree because I ended up going into real estate, you know? And had I known that I could have gotten a different type of degree and still pursued entrepreneurship, I would have totally done that. But I didn't know, you know?
Right.
So
I only got my associates I went to a community college, and I stopped there just because one thing was that I didn't really know how to pursue the university. What was I going to do? Another thing, financially, I didn't have that financial aid to do more schooling. But now I think about it, I'm like, okay, should I go back to school? Should I at least get my degree? But I'm still, to this day, I'm just like, okay, what do I get my degree in? I'm not sure if I should do it, if I should pursue it or not. But that's, you know, I don't know. I think maybe part of it is we don't have that time to see exactly who we are and what we want to do and the reasons why we want to do whatever career we want to go into. So.
Yep. So now over half of Gen Z is questioning whether it's worth the cost. You know, college isn't cheap. You know, it's not. It's a big investment. You know, so you have to make sure that the degree you're getting in is worth it, and whether it's going to guarantee you money at this point. Because there's degrees that you get that don't even make you more than $45,000 a year, and it's like, especially in this economy, am I able to live off of that? Especially in places like New York, places that are getting more expensive. Here in Arizona, the gas prices aren't cheap anymore. It's like, what, $5? You know, I spent $80 last week on a tank of gas, and I was like, But things are getting more expensive, so now you have to look at it like, is this college degree gonna get me the amount of money that I want to make?
Mhm.
So it's just being really intentional, asking questions, asking everyone, people around you, people who have been to
Yeah.
college, people who maybe didn't pursue the college life, like maybe ask them how they got to where they are, like maybe they're
Mhm.
set. So college isn't the only answer,
Yeah.
especially now with jobs like content creation. And
Right.
Gen
Right.
Z
There's
is.
more options out there. And like I said, like we don't have that time, and I wish we could have that time. It's right after high school, you have to go into college and you have to know what degree you're going to
Mhm.
go into or what you want to do with your life right after high school. And it's like, okay, but we spend most of our, 4 years in high school learning and uh, investing all that time there, but we didn't invest enough time seeking out those questions. What are the
Yeah.
right questions to ask to get you what the answers that you need? Whether it's okay, is college the fit for me, or is it not? And am I going to go into the entrepreneurship? And even how you were saying, social media influencing, all that is entrepreneurship. It's
Mhm.
it's a business, and you have to know how to work it.
And I understand that they're like high schools have those counselors and everything to prepare you for the next step in life, but a
Hmm.
lot of them only talk about same thing, college and what you want to do, but they never really talk about the finances, the debt, or even entrepreneurship. Like, hey, have you considered maybe getting your real estate license after high school? And we're going to talk a little bit about this more, but we're seeing a big shift in Gen Z. 30% of Gen Z are exploring alternative paths other than college. There's a rise of entrepreneurship, even content creation. I was telling her how kids nowadays are not saying, like, when you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're saying, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer anymore. They want to be a content creator, an influencer. Those are
Hmm.
new things that are popping up. Commission based careers, and careers that don't, like real estate, that don't require that 4-year degree. You
Hmm.
know, real estate is one of those few careers that you can start, again, like I said, right after high school.
Hmm.
I started taking my courses. I was out doing online school, so I was able to take courses after my classes, and I spent like 2 weeks doing the 90 hours of education. Then I took my exams, and from there I became licensed. And it's not just real estate; it could be your loan officer's license. You can get your life insurance. All these licenses that can be used right outside of high school. I forgot the
Yeah.
word.
No, you're good. Yeah. And it's building your own schedule around that, which is nice. But it also does require a lot of discipline. And I
Hmm.
think more than a 9 to 5 job, um, you need that discipline of no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. So there's no single path to success anymore. You don't have to wait. We were talking about this too. You don't have to wait until you're 30 to even build wealth. We don't have that. You don't have to follow that set plan that everyone seems to want or have. High
Hmm.
school, then college, then family, and then a house. You can start building wealth right now. There's nothing that says that you have to, again, go to college. Lenders don't care about your degrees. They care about stability, income, and your financial profile. So you can absolutely buy a home in your 20s. We've seen kids 18, 19 recently buy homes and become homeowners. So there's nothing stopping you. Just surrounding yourself with the right people that are going to answer your questions. You have a question on real estate, or even just planning. Like, let's say you are in college and you
Yeah.
want to buy. You can talk to a lender now while you're starting college, like, hey, my goal is, after these 4 years, I want to buy a house.
Hmm.
What are the steps? How do I have to prepare? And then they give you advice. Talking to a lender isn't going to cost you. It's free. Talking to an
Hmm.
agent is free. And
Yeah. It's not commitment. It's not at all.
mm-mm.
It's just getting the right questions to answer, and they're going to answer the right questions, and so that you can know how to proceed with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So realistically, you only need a few things to actually buy at any age, whether you're young, you're older, anything. You need income stability. You're usually looking about 2-year history, credit score. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, we're not A lot of the people think that they have to have everything perfect in order to buy.
Mhm.
That's not the case. Your debt to income ratio, so your monthly debts versus your income, and a down payment, which can be, there's a lot of down payment assistance out there that could
Yeah.
help you if you're struggling with down payment. But again, if you talk to someone prior to buying a house, let's say you 4 years in advance, you're like, start saving money little by little. You don't have to rush anything.
Mhm.
Just talking to someone and asking them the questions, people that are going to be willing to answer them for you.
Yeah. But imagine if in high school they taught you about real estate
Exactly.
or like the basics, if you want to buy a house right after high school, this is what you need, or this is how you can start building your credit.
Yeah.
That would probably be very nice. And I think maybe there would be more home buyers.
More home buyers, more younger of the generation,
yeah.
just preparing and looking into the future and showing them like it is possible, And I think a lot of Gen Z, we talked about this last time, are a bit afraid of moving forward because they're like, okay, I don't have the perfect credit score, or I don't know this.
Yeah.
But having people there to help answer your questions.
Yeah.
So we're there for you.
Yeah. And I think they get stuck in limbo where it's like, oh, I don't have that perfect credit score, but they don't move forward and they kind of just stay there for some time.
Yeah.
But there's people out there to help you with your credit score.
Absolutely. And actually a fun fact is that you can use your college education as part of your work history. So let's say you just graduated, lenders can often use your college transcript or degree to help satisfy that 2-year work requirement, as long as you're working obviously in the job that's related to your field. So like, let's say you went to school for business or for finance or something that's aligned with your job, that time counts. So you don't have to wait, like let's say after college you get that job, you don't have to wait 2 years to complete that 2-year work history. You can buy right after. Once you get that job, you just need a pay stub and that college history, and you can proceed with buying a house. So that's an amazing fact.
Do you want to go into the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Right. So.
Okay. So, is college required for success?
No. I think it depends on your goal. Again, like we said, if you're looking to be a lawyer, a doctor, jobs that actually require you to have a degree, then yes, absolutely go for it. We need more doctors, we need more lawyers and everything. But if that's not your goal, and maybe you're unsure of what you want, maybe after high school, you're like, I don't know if I want to pursue this, then get a license in something else. Get your real estate license, get your insurance license, something that where you don't have to commit for 4 years. Because once you're in college, if you're in college already, commit, finish strong, But if you're not and you're still like, okay, I don't know, what should I do?
Yeah, take time to find out. Yeah, take time to find out. Yeah, but we do need a lot of even teachers nowadays.
Teachers too.
It's something that I feel like all around you're seeing that we need more of. But that's a whole different topic. So another question is, biggest mistake Gen Zs make?
Waiting, thinking that they have to have everything figured out or perfect, I think, and fear of wondering like, oh, what if I do this or do this wrong, or I wasn't supposed to do this, like they're just afraid,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've all been afraid of moving forward, and that's what stopped a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, don't wait.
Yeah, I've been in that where I think, well, what's the right path for me? And if I take it, will I fail? Well, if you fail, at least you know that wasn't the right path and you learn from it and you move on. But it's harder said than done sometimes. But just taking that first step helps.
Yeah. So what's one thing schools should teach, in your opinion?
I think that confidence to not be afraid to fail and knowing how to problem solve in real life.
Yes.
Starting from little toddlers, even with my son, I do that a lot where he's struggling to get something or do something for himself, and I let him try to figure it out on his own. And when he tells me he needs help is when I help him. Or even I ask him, hey, like, do you need help? And he'll tell me no sometimes. And I'm just like, "Okay, you don't need help. You keep doing you and you try to figure it out." And he'll usually figure it out, or if not, he sees that, "Wait, I actually do need my mom to help me." So he'll ask for my help and I help him. But um I think sometimes, at least I grew up where it's like, "Oh, I don't know how to figure it out." And the answer is there,
Mhm.
or they give you that answer. And I think sometimes in school you'll experience that where it's and they don't know how to really help you problem solve, and that will affect you later on in your adulthood.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially again, because they have 30 kids and every kid learns differently. You
Mhm.
can't expect all 30 kids to learn the same way. Some people take more time and learn differently. I think another thing that school should teach is about money, how to
Mhm.
invest it, how to spend, how to properly spend, stuff that no one ever talks about. And yeah, money and cooking, they should have taught us how to cook. But
Oh my god. So yeah, there's no single path to success, and college, real estate, entrepreneurship, they're all tools, but knowing how to build it, uh, it requires discipline no matter what. And there's the ones, they're the ones, who later on, if they can sooner or later buy their home, if they have that clarity and discipline from the beginning in their career path.
Yep. So if this episode helped you out, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share. If you guys have any questions, maybe about how to get your real estate license, or maybe you want someone who went to college that you have questions, please reach out. If you're looking to buy a house, maybe you're 18, 19, 20, early 20s, 30s, 40s, and you're looking to buy and you're looking to take that next step, but you want to first prepare, see your finances, reach out. We can send you to some amazing lenders that we have. We're great real estate agents. So if you have any questions, we're always here to help. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you on the next one.